I hate that that's an empty coop. Hey y'all. We had a pretty big windstorm come through a couple of nights ago, and the cover on our greenhouse, I'm going to try to put it back on. So like the frame didn't move an inch. This frame is very secure the way we've done it. And the cover has done great through storms for a year now. But this was a this was very strong winds, and it did rip it. I'm hoping that some of it is just pulled off and I can put it back on, but I know for sure that there are some spots that are ripped. So we're just gonna have to evaluate it and see if it's gonna call for a new cover or what we can do. Just as we were about to start putting plants out here, right? I think I can still make it work to be able to put plant starts in here for right now. Only time will tell though as I start putting that cover back on. I don't know if I'm going to try to do that right now. I think it's going to be a more than one person job. It's actually not what I came out here to talk to you about. Let me grab a bucket. We'll go sit down and talk for a second. Good morning. I ended up propping you up on the trailer and tried to level it out the best that I could. So I went back and forth on whether or not I was even going to sit down and talk about this, and ultimately decided that I would, because this is real life. I love having our animals and growing our gardens and living the way that we do, but there are some tough times that can come with that, and we had one of those this weekend, and I'm gonna tell you about it today. On Sunday we had gotten up and got ready for church, and with kids and all, we were just trying to get everybody ready and out the door. I didn't look out at the chickens like I normally would. And we went to church. Well, my mama lives next door, and my mom and stepdad called us, and they had noticed that something didn't look right in one of our chicken coops, and they had gone out to take a look at it and was calling to tell me what had happened. Now, let's rewind and go back to Saturday night. We had gotten home from a basketball game late, and when we pulled in the driveway, we saw a dog in the yard, and something told me he's gonna come back for the chickens. And Justin scared him off. We kept a check. We got a flashlight that we used to look out here. We kept a check. Sunday, what my mom and David saw was that we had a coop full of dead chickens. And one thing that this had me thinking about was the different jobs and purposes that animals have on a homestead, whether it's meat or a source of food, whether it's work, composting, or tilling the land, or being a protector, or being a pet. And even just within our chickens, we have some that do all of those things. And the chickens that we lost this weekend were definitely pets. They were the OGs, the originals, the ones who had been through it all. They were here before we were here. When, right, like as we were working on moving in, I'd already ordered our first round of meat birds. We were waiting on them to come in the mail. I have a video on it. I just couldn't wait. I just couldn't wait any longer. The brooder was ready. It was set up. I took the kids. We went to Tractor Supply. Wyatt was little at the time. Fletcher wasn't here. So 3 big kids each picked a breed, and we got 2 of each. We got 2 cinnamon queens, 2 California tans, and 2 cuckoo marins. Brought them home. I called Justin, was like, well, Black Adam is gonna talk. Called him and said, I went ahead and went and got some chicks. He said, well, how many did you get? And I told him, he said, you should have got more, because some of them are probably gonna die. And you wanna know what? Not one of them died. They were so healthy, and we raised them from little chicks. They did great. Never dealt with any sickness with them. Another time that we'd had a predator get into a coop, they made it out. Just last week, Justin and I had been talking. We were standing out here. He was working on this new coop, and we were talking, and I said, these have been here through it all. I mean, like I said, never experienced any kind of sickness. They've just always been so healthy. Made it through the other predator attack. It was hard. Well, we got home Sunday, and I walked out here. I shed a few tears, because these chickens, they were pets. I wouldn't do it any different. I'd still go to Tractor Supply and get them again. Talking about different jobs and different purposes, we've got chickens that will lay eggs. We've got roosters that are protectors. We have meat birds that we'll put in the freezer. We've got some chickens that'll probably lay eggs, and then when their day comes, they'll become food. And we've got some that are pets, and that'll be here as long as they'll stay here, they'll be here. And that's what these chickens were. When I walked out here, I cried just a little bit. I took some pictures because I wanted them for our records. Because this was somebody's, I believe with all my heart that dog came back. When I walked back in the house, Justin asked me, did you do a video? I was like, no, I wasn't ready to talk about it yet. It was tough, and we've learned some tough lessons from it. We have let the chickens, we had some that like to roost outside of the coop, and when it's not too cold, when it's cold they'll go in, but when it's a warmer night they like to roost outside of the coop. So we had never done anything like the automatic doors, but guess what's going on the new coop? An automatic door, and we're going to make sure they go in at night. The door closes and opens in the morning. It's what we've got to do to make sure they're safe. Something else that we have thought about is a Great Pyrenees, and some of y'all have asked why we don't have one. Justin is allergic to dogs, and so it just kind of adds another layer of things that would go into that. But I'm thinking we could probably still make that work as a guardian dog, being outside, and that's the biggest reason why we haven't already done that, is him being allergic to dogs kind of adds an extra layer to that. But I don't know. We'll have to see what happens there. I have had several of y'all ask, though, why we don't have one. Loss and tough times, they come with this way of life. Having animals, animal husbandry, whether it's raising animals for food or for work or whatever it is, you have tough days, and we had a tough day. Still not quite over it. Will I ever be? I don't know, because like I said, they were the originals, the very first animals here on this little homestead. What kicked this all off and kind of got it all started. And I mean, this is a way of life and a way of thinking that we've had for a long time. That's not new to us, but being here and being on this space and really jumping into the things that we have, it started with those little chickens. Now, let me tell you something that is kind of a ray of sunlight. Mama did tell me that there were a few that had made it and were walking around the yard. There was one California tan, one cinnamon queen, and one cuckoo Moran still walking around the yard. We had lost one of each. We lost our Elvis, our rooster Elvis, Dixie, our turkin that we had kept from that first batch of meat birds to be a laying hen. We lost Sweetie, the turkin. And all of those original 6 came, and then those others were right there, like within weeks afterwards. And as hard as loss is, I'd still do it all over again. And that speaks to the beauty of animals and the beauty of living this kind of lifestyle. This was the setup here. I had to balance y'all out. Thanks for talking with me today. I hate that that's an empty coop. Huh. Just doesn't look right, does it? I love you. I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.